Hey guys
And gals.
and gals. Do we have gals? Is our demographic women too? I don't know if they
No,
are.
I think all we've got are pets.
I think it's
watches, dogs and cats.
Welcome to another edition of Bro-ish, two brothers talking Notre Dame football. I'm your host Mannix, along with my brother Clutch. Notre Dame just released. Actually, we just got an updated college football playoff ranking update, and Notre Dame is number 6. They matched the college football, the coaches poll and the AP poll at number 6. So they are officially one spot away from reaching their peak. One spot away, Clutch. What do you think about that? I mean, did you think that after the Northern Illinois game, they were going to be able to... I just cut that music out.
Yeah, no, I was digging it.
I know, and I was trying to use a slider and it didn't work. That's StreamYard for you. Did you think that Notre Dame was going to end up where they are after that Northern Illinois? Did you think... I mean, if we go back to some of the podcasts, I'm sure there's a couple of times that you were like, nope, they're going to at least lose 2 or 3 more games.
Yep, I thought the same thing. I did, and I was like, who are they going to beat in the playoffs? I don't totally remember saying that who cares if they win out? Who the hell are they going to be able to compete against in the playoffs? They'll go in that first round and lose. But it's not looking so much like that anymore.
Well, the Irish are fresh off their 52 to, what was it? I'm sorry, no, 30. I'm always thinking 50 because that's what the score's been, but it's actually a little bit lower. And I was thinking about the Lions too. 35-14 victory over the Virginia Cavaliers.
Should have been at least 42 though.
Yeah, that fake punt.
And before that, what's his face running the play before that where he took the bomb and went all the way in. What's his name? Number 2.
Jaden Harrison.
Jaden Harrison.
So yeah, I agree. They called that one back. And what was that call on? What was the call on that one? Because I kind of saw that play, the end of that play, but I didn't back it up. Did you see what the actual penalty was for that call?
Yeah, you didn't hear. Were you listening to the radio broadcast?
I was not listening to the radio broadcast.
I was listening to, so I'd love to see what Ryan Harris would have blown up. The call on that. Wait, just hold on to that because we've got to hear this. I'll do a screen share on this bad boy because you got to hear this.
So there was 2 different calls. So if we go back to the fake punt, the reason they called that back is there was 2 things. They couldn't be in a shotgun formation, which in that special teams lineup they had or formation that they had, and if they were going to. There was something else where was it the guy who snapped the ball or something? I don't know what it was, but there was you had to have a certain jersey number.
High numbers. Yeah, here we go.
Yes.
Ready?
That wasn't that call. That was the other call that you're talking about, right?
The fake punt. Yeah, what were you talking about?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the touchdown. I was talking about the touchdown, but yeah, go ahead and play Ryan Harris's thing because I want to get a little.
No, I don't have Ryan Harris's thing. I didn't listen to that.
Oh.
We're going to listen to Ned Flanders and the referee they have up in the booth or whatever that they always go to him. So what was your take on this call? So the what's his name? Harrison or whatever, number 2.
Yeah,
that was called back. That was called back for block to the face, which I saw the replay and it was a legit call.
Okay.
But let me let's see here. We're gonna do a little share screen. Yeah. Share screen. And this one right here. Boom. Hopefully you get the audio on this. Ready?
Yep. No audio. Do you have audio?
By the way, this guy runs like Zibikowski so much. Plays on. He looks just like.
There's no audio on this.
Listen. Here, hold on. Now listen to this.
What am I listening to? Because I don't hear anything. Clutch. What? There's no. I hear no audio.
Oh, you didn't hear any audio?
Nothing. It might have been on your end, but I didn't hear anything.
Oh yeah, I could hear it on my end, big time.
It did not come
So
through.
basically, the reason is that all the linemen in that formation need to be above the number 50.
50, right? 50 to 79 or something like that. I think
Yeah.
it was some
And if
weird
that's
rule.
and to be, not be in that, then the punter needs to be the person that takes the snap, and then it would have been okay of a formation. And by the way, yeah, like I said, when you see what's he got pissed. Look at this. Oh, they didn't show it, but he was like yelling at the ref. But yeah, Faison looks like, you know, they didn't show it. Anyways, that was oh, I'm not even
He
sharing it anymore.
It went away. It was to the two box there.
Okay.
And I just zoomed up into it. Anyways, yeah, I listened to the broadcast. I listened to what they were kind of saying, but it was very confusing about how. But I mean, Faison, yes, he does run like a Zibikowski. He just that fake that he put on that guy.
Yeah, he broke his
the only
ankles.
guy that he had. Yeah, he totally broke his ankles. I think he's coming into his own. Faison as he's starting to get. Obviously, he's healthier now. I hope he's 100%. He's
Probably
looking.
helps that Riley's throwing to him.
Yeah, I mean he has to because that's your playmaker, especially when these college football playoffs start. You got to find your playmakers, and I think on the receiving end of things, you have Faison, you have Great House, you got some other receivers or whatever here and there. Bo Collins, Bo Collins missed a lot of passes actually. I have a list. I have a whole freaking list, Clutch. But took a bunch of notes. Three and out, Notre Dame. There's another thing too is that Notre Dame had a huge problem trying to get on the scoreboard after they got that touchdown, the first touchdown after Chris Tyree, the transfer for Notre Dame, the receiver / running back or whatever. When he fumbled that, and then they went into the end zone, which I didn't know either. I'm getting an tangent here because I'm going off. Start of the game, I had no idea that it was a rule that it's a dead ball. If it goes off on a kickoff, if it goes off the person who was trying to return the ball,
There must be a new.
You can't advance.
rule.
You can't advance the ball, which I think is completely ridiculous. I don't know. I think it's completely ridiculous that you cannot advance the ball. I mean, because at that point that would have been a straight up touchdown. I mean, obviously it was close enough. We got we got running backs. We're going to run it in. However, I never knew about that rule. Getting back to Bo Collins though, he had like multiple passes go through his hands, and that is, I do not like seeing that. I mean, when you cannot catch the ball and there's just going, I mean, and Riley Leonard was putting him right on him, and he was actually the first pass I think was in the end zone during that first possession when they got the fumble. He threw when it was a little high on him, I think, and he wasn't really in position to make that catch. But the next two passing completion attempts by Bo Collins right through his fucking hands. So not a good sign, but I do like the way that Faison was playing. Another player that I thought played really well, as kind of had a bounce back from the weekend before, was Jeremiah Love. I think he completely turned around whatever happened against Florida State. I think he looked 10 times better against Virginia. So that's good that he was playing. And Jadarian Price looked equally as good as well. Just kind of going through my notes. I think Riley Leonard, he didn't, you know what Riley Leonard didn't do this week? He didn't run for a touchdown.
Oh, yes. The thing is, Ned Flanders kept calling it. Oh, he's going to run for the touchdown right here, and then he wouldn't. And Ned was looking pretty bad at that.
Yeah, so he did not run for a touchdown, which is was just surprising. Another player that I thought played ridiculously well was linebacker Jack Kaiser. This is his last game at Notre Dame Stadium. The guy has played in more games than any other Notre Dame football player, 63 games. And it was just, he just played incredible. One note I have here, stops Virginia on a 4th and 2 with a tipped pass. He was just playing out of his head. It was just crazy. So I like that everyone's starting to get to their, we got 2 more games, Army and USC. And I just like how our team is playing right now. I got it right on the screen. Notre Dame's a top 5 team. They are a top 5 team, if not better. They might be a top 3 team. I saw today your buddy McElroy. What's his name? The old quarterback for Greg McElroy. Yeah, for Alabama. A couple days ago, or maybe yesterday it was, he said that Notre Dame has a legitimate chance by the way their defense and the way their offense is coming on strong now, it's if they had a legitimate, real serious, legitimate chance of winning in the national title. And I don't disagree with them. I really do believe that Notre Dame has a chance to, if they can get to that 5th spot, because right now we're looking at the college football playoffs or whatever, the rankings, and if you look at Notre Dame, 5 is the peak, right? So we're at 6 right now. So Indiana plays Ohio State this weekend. Notre Dame plays undefeated Army. So it's going to be a action-packed weekend for college football. Notre Dame beats Army, and Indiana loses against Ohio State, or Ohio State loses to Indiana. I think Ohio State will drop. Obviously, that'll be their second loss, and they're going to drop. And Notre Dame's going to come up to that 5th spot. And this is just like they planned. Just like they planned. You know, and they'll end up playing a number 12 team, which is Boise State, which they have. Boise State has one of the toughest running backs, if not a Heisman contender running back right now. So that poses a problem because I don't think Notre Dame is as good as stopping the run as they are stopping the pass.
So one of the things you look at this too is that Notre Dame's in a good spot because they're going to have a bye. They're going to be one of the few teams possibly that has a bye because they don't have a conference championship where everybody's playing. Now, the only exception would be that is everyone else in the top 4 is going to have a bye the next week, and anybody in 6 through 12 that didn't play in a conference championship that may just be up in there. But as I'm looking at this, I don't know where that's going to happen. Maybe if Texas and Alabama play, then you've got either Tennessee or Ole Miss sitting out there not doing anything, and they're in a bye. Or I'm sorry, Georgia too, all 3 of them. So Ole Miss, Georgia, and Tennessee are all sitting in there, and they won't be playing for the next year for their conference championship.
Right.
So yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting for sure to see where Notre Dame sits on this. But like I said before we went live tonight, it's a lot of people ripping on Notre Dame because why should they be up there on conference championship? But honestly, that may be the best thing that happens because Ohio State, Indiana are going to take themselves out, or Penn State are going to take themselves out, or Oregon. All 4 of them are right there, and then the SEC is going to take out one of their best teams, and they're going to get knocked out. So, and the same thing goes for Colorado, Boise State, and who else was it? Colorado, Boise State, and there's a third team I thought. Colorado, Boise State, BYU are on the same conference, and then SMU and Miami are in the same conference. So, and then you got Texas A&M sitting down there at the bottom, Clemson staying down there. I mean, it's going to be very dynamic, and I think Notre Dame is just going to wedge themselves up against that number 4 spot and just sit there and just see where they land after the dust settles.
So I think that I mean it's odd to see if you look at the top 10 right now. Just the top 10 of the college football playoff rankings. There are 4 Big Ten teams. It's almost like a flip. So ever since the conference realignment, and this year with Oregon joining the Big Ten, who else joined the Big Ten this year? USC,
Washington.
Yeah. So all these kind of West Coast teams or whatever coming over to the Big Ten strengthen the Big Ten. Now with 4 teams, they're basically bumping out these SEC teams. I like this competition. I really do. I like the fact that like you see teams in here like Tulane, Army in the top 20, SMU. I mean, it's just teams that you don't usually see. And it's just going to be, I think it's going to be a fun playoff environment. The fact that Notre Dame, they get up to number 5 by hopefully beating Army this weekend and then finishing the season by beating USC on the road, we'll put them at number 5 for sure. For sure, they will be at number 5. They will have that week bye, but they're going to have a home playoff game, and that home playoff game is set for the 5 through 8?
Yeah. No, 5 through 12. I thought.
No, not 5 through 12.
Oh, home.
Yeah, just a home playoff game. Yeah.
Yep. 5 plays 12, 6 plays 11, 7 plays 10, 8 plays 9. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Here's what I'm worried about, though.
Yeah.
These Notre Dame wins. I mean, look at it. How many turnovers did Virginia have? 5. Now Notre Dame had 2. How many turnovers did Navy have? I worry that I think there's two things going on here, so I'm trying to keep myself in kind of check. But I think some of it is for some reason the other team when they show up to play Notre Dame lately, these last handful of games, the other team's choking. Um, Notre Dame's dominating though on the other side. It could go the other way because in years past, when the other team's choking, Notre Dame's choking with them, and then it's a cutthroat battle to the end where it's a close game. None of these have really been close with the exception of Louisville game. So and they're Louisville, they're not even ranked anymore. So I'm kind of worried about that. I want to see, people are going to complain Notre Dame's got a soft schedule. I don't think there's any argument there. I really do think they have a soft schedule. So I guess we'll have to see what happens when.
But not totally their fault because going into the season, we all thought that USC is going to be good. We all thought that Florida State was going to be good, and it just kind of the way it turned out. And Notre Dame's had these seasons before. They've had.
Yeah,
seasons.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they purposely scheduled it like that because I'll argue that to my face turns blue. I agree with you. You don't go in 5 years out to make the schedule just like the home away was it home and home series that they just signed up with Texas. By the time that comes around in 2020, what is it? 6? No, 8. Mm-hmm. Texas might suck. We don't know, but you make that schedule ahead of time, and then when fruition comes and the actual season's here, you don't know. You didn't know USC was going to be crappy. You didn't know who else. Florida State was going to be as bad as they were. Georgia Tech. I mean, so I agree with that. But the season has panned out to the point of where Notre Dame's really got a really. They've for amount of people they've lost. I'm worried that when they really play somebody that's solid, they might struggle. Unlike what I was saying a couple of games ago, that they're mimicking the Lions a lot. The Lions have gone through some diversity as well, losing a lot of players, and they are dominating. So I look at that and I'm like, that's a domination. Notre Dame is like dominating on the scoreboard, but at times I don't know if they're really dominating.
Well, they're taking those defensive turnovers and actually Greg McElroy, actually, is it McElroy? I forget his name. I want to say macaroni.
Let's just say macaroni.
Macaroni and cheese. He had made the point to the fact that Notre Dame is the best, probably the best in the country of taking turnovers and turning them into points, which they are. And they are. They are quick to get to taking those turnovers and put it into their end zone and their opponent's end zone. I'm sorry. And getting points on the board right away. And we saw that obviously, like you said, with Navy, and now with Virginia. But they also in this game had I think 3 or 4 3-and-outs in a row, and that's worrisome because you could not have 3 3-and-outs in a game against an Oregon or even any top 10 team or whatever. You can't have those type of games. And I'm sure Marcus Freeman is stressing that this week is the fact that we have to move the ball. We have to be able to move that ball. And when we're not moving the ball, we can't just always rely on our defense to make stops. If our defense doesn't make a stop and they keep scoring points, then we're in trouble. So it's a big deal. I think they got to fix that. Another thing they have to really fix, and it's not a secret, is the fact that they don't have a kicker right now. They do not have a field goal kicker. No. Mitch Jeter screwed up his hips. I think I don't know which game it was, but a few weeks back he was out. He was missing a few games, and they had 2 replacement kickers come in and kick 2 different field goals. Legitimately, these field goals were makeable field goals and were not even close. Both of those field goal attempts were not even close. So they took 6 points off the board there. You talk about, the fumble, the fumble Ruski or whatever they want to call it, play or whatever. That's another 7 points. I mean, yeah, you're talking Notre Dame should have had almost 50 points there when they beat Virginia, and they should have. So it's very worrisome that they stalled on offense for a bit. But they jumped right back in it and started coasting after that. So I don't know. That was the lowest point total I've seen Notre Dame in a long time. Notre Dame has broken records for the most points in a season already, and they still have 2 games left. Isn't that incredible? That's pretty incredible when you think about it. that they've almost broken, that they have broken the point total in the season.
You mentioned that most of the team has really elevated their game. I'll tell you somebody that I think has actually gone backwards, although his average per carry doesn't show that in the last game, and that's Price. Price is Love. Well, maybe Price hasn't receded versus Love has really elevated. I mean, I love watching Love run because he does two things that I always get mad at running backs for. You get a running back that says, "Hey, I'm supposed to run through the middle," and they'll run through the middle whether there's a hole or not there, and then they hit it and they just go down and it's like 1 yard gained or something like that. Love will go up there and say, "Oop, I'm gone," and just shoot out to the outside if he has to sometimes. Or the other thing is he hits holes that you're like, "There's no hole there, dude," and he somehow gets through it. It's like a mouse through a little crack, and he comes out the other side. Now he had 8.6 yards per carry, and Price, who had only less than half the number of carriers than Love, had 7.3 yards per carry. So that's actually not too bad, but he only carried the ball 6 times. And just in contrast, Riley Leonard carried it 8, and freshman Aeneas Williams carried it 7 times. So they're definitely all in on Love, but I do want to say that the run and pass game was pretty even. I think it was about 200 and some yards on both sides, 230 and 214, I think, or something like that. So 214 passing and 234 rushing. Yeah.
I made a point to do a screenshot. It said, this is just something I want to say about Notre Dame here. So a berth in the first ever college football playoff and perhaps a first college football playoff victory moved closer to the scope of reality than hope on Saturday, as Notre Dame moved to 34-0 all time as a ranked team at home against ACC competition. That's ridiculous. I mean, you talk about dominating a conference.
Yeah.
I don't know. Notre Dame has played very well, and I know that their defense has definitely kept them in games this year, and their offense too. Their offense, like you said, I mean, we got this 2-back system where they just kind of feed off of each other. One plays good, the other one's playing decent or even as good as the other one, and they get about the same amount of reps, I think, for the most part, don't they? Or is it more Love than Jadarian? I don't know.
It's more Love than it's more than half Love. Love 16 carries. Price is only 6 in that last game. Here's something that's interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 11 different receivers caught a pass last weekend.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive. Love, Flanagan, Chris Mitchell, Jaden Thomas, Colsey caught 2. Greathouse caught 1. Collins caught 1, dropped a couple. Faison caught 2. Mitchell Evans caught 4, which I didn't even see him get the ball that many times, but okay. Aeneas Williams caught 3, and Jaden Harrison, leading receiver, caught 3. Now, Harrison should have had that. What was that, 60 yards or something like that? That would have been, he would have had 100 yards easy receiving. But
he's looking a lot better too. He's another receiver that's, I forgot to mention, I was talking about all these Notre Dame receivers. He's actually grown into this team. Obviously, he's a transfer, and he's getting better and better each week. And
is he the one from Marshall?
Maybe it's either Marshall or Florida Atlantic.
I get him mixed up with the guy at defense. What's his name? Jordan Clark. Jordan Clark's the other one that transferred. That's related to the guy from ESPN, Ryan Clark.
Yes,
but I forget. I don't remember where he's from. Bio. Marshall. Yep. Yeah. He Vanderbilt, Marshall, Notre Dame. Yeah. Harrison. Okay. Clark went. He's from Arizona State. That's right.
Is that Jordan Clark?
Jordan Clark. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the safety.
His dad's I think a former pro, right?
Yeah, Steelers, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
well, what do you think about? I mean, here's the one thing that I keep forgetting to do, and we'll do it later on here in the show. Here, as the show counts into the 25th minute here, let's talk about it right now. I don't care. Let's talk about predictions. We failed to talk about prediction last week. So let's talk about prediction about Army. Army comes in at 9-0. It's the first time since I think 1958 both teams have been ranked. Clutch, what do you think about? Is it going to be difficult for Notre Dame? As I'm spitting everywhere, is it going to be difficult for Notre Dame to stop this Army team?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen him play, but since early in the season back when Navy was playing really good too. And to me, it looked like Army was still running the ball heavier. They were a more heavy run offense, but was passing it more than they did in previous seasons. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I want to say it's going to be, they're just going to roll right over them like they did Navy, but you can see Navy's falling apart now with their loss shutout last week. Army's still hanging in there, so I think it's going to be tight. It all depends on how Notre Dame handles the run, and then doesn't get burnt on like a play action or something like that, or a RPO or something like that, and get burned on a deep pass play or something. So,
let's see. Who have they played this year?
Army.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Lehigh, Florida Atlantic, Rice, Temple, Tulsa, UAB, East Carolina, Air Force, and North Texas.
What is their toughest game? I don't even know what their toughest game is. I mean, I can go right through all these teams.
Probably East Carolina, because that was the closest score. That was 45-28.
You know,
they're putting points up on the board.
Lehigh has three losses, including that Army loss. I mean, maybe Rice. Rice is terrible too. They're 3-7. I don't know. UAB. They're terrible.
They're all losing schedules, aren't they?
Yeah. So it's just like this might turn out to be another Navy game where it was like, hey, you know what? They look great right now, but once they play an actual team like Notre Dame, will they be able to handle Notre Dame's defense? I don't think they are. I don't think they will. I think it's going to be the same result. Notre Dame's going to be playing in New York City. They're playing at the Yankee Stadium. This is their big what do they call it? The Shamrock Series. I don't know if are they still calling it that. It's a Shamrock Series, I believe, and I think they are going to turn it up on Army and make them look silly. And that's and then the weird thing too is that like the build up to Navy was like Navy's undefeated. Navy looks totally different. It's going to be hard to stop their run. And what did we do? We just created turnovers, and took those turnovers and turned them into points. I think there hasn't been a lot of talk at all about this Army team. And I think for good reason. I don't think they're that good. I mean, they haven't played anybody.
No, they're not getting the votes, that's for sure.
I mean, they're what? They're kind of all over the board. They're 19th in the college football playoff ranking. They're 17th in the AP, 18th in the coaches. I mean, it's all over the place. So I don't know. I just think, what's your prediction, Clutch? What do you think?
I'm going to say 42 to let's see, 13.
I am going to say they're going to turn it on for the New York crowd. It is going to be 56 to 10. That will be the score. I came this close to predicting that Navy game, so hopefully I can get this one. What else? What else am I missing in my notes?
So the best two records out of everybody they played is East Carolina. East Carolina is 6-4, and North Texas, who they just played, is 5-5. Otherwise, it is 3-7 Air Force, 2-8 UAB, 3-7 Tulsa, 3-7 Temple, 3-7 Rice, and 2-8 Florida Atlantic. So that,
right.
Yeah, that's, I don't understand.
I mean, when they say that Notre Dame had a really shitty fucking schedule, not that shitty.
No.
So, I mean, we've actually beaten 3 ranked teams. This will be number 4 if we win on Saturday. It'll be the 4th ranked team that we've beaten when we played the game. They were currently ranked, and we go by Texas A&M, Louisville, Navy, and then soon to be hopefully Army.
Out of the 2024 American Conference standings, which is where Army belongs, the top 4 teams, Army being one of them, they haven't played any of them. They didn't play Tulane, Navy, or Memphis. They'll play Navy at the end of the season. But the 5th best team in all the conference is East Carolina, is who they played, 6-4. They have played everybody in the bottom. Florida Atlantic is worst. Well, hold on, let me full standings here. Florida Atlantic, Tulsa, UAB, Temple, Rice, North Texas, then throw Air Force in there. East Carolina, yeah, they played the bottom of the conference all year long. So yeah, I think this is now that I'm seeing this, I'm starting to feel good. Yeah, I'll go what I say, 42-13. I'm going. And here's something else I want to put in there real quick. I know we're going over.
No, we're fine.
Have you noticed that with Marcus Freeman, this is the first coach in a while? I don't think any coach, I can't remember Charlie Weiss doing this. They'll keep playing and they'll keep calling plays. And if they score again,
yeah,
tough
and
shit.
that's well, and in this day and age, which they should have done with Brian Kelly. I don't know why Brian Kelly didn't really do it, but I go this day and age with the college football playoffs, you're always looking to impress, and so style points they have to be considered.
Yeah, Alabama would roll up somebody like 50, 60 points and no one would say anything. Notre Dame doesn't. Ran on the points up.
I haven't heard that this year, though. I haven't heard that this year.
I heard I don't know if it was that or the Lions. One of the games I heard somebody say I saw someone comment said they're really, running the game up. And I'm like,
and I bet MCDC was like, fuck you. Anyways, one thing I did want to comment on the Virginia game was, I don't know if you watched this. So Notre Dame number 37, I think his name is Max Hurlman. He's a punt returner. There was a punt where he muffed it. It went right, but it was a fair catch. Went off his chest.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Bounced kind of in front of him a little bit.
Yep.
Where there was a defender.
Mm-hmm.
And the defender caught it. Now, I didn't know this because they talked about it.
Yeah, it's illegal. It's
illegal to actually. He needed to be able to have a chance to catch that ball.
Yeah.
So that should have been overturned.
The fact that the officials called that one fake punt back because there wasn't linemen that were above the number 50 is really ticky tack, and yet in that one they didn't call. It's like. That's like a normal fair catch. They should have called that right off the bat.
Well, it's a fair catch, but it bounces off him. He has the chance to get if he muffs it, he has a chance of actually trying to grab it again. Mm. And so that the player catching the ball, unobstructed. So if that player catching the ball is obstructed, it doesn't matter how far it bounced in front of him. The fact is, it has to hit the ground first. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
So it has to hit the ground first, and for them to actually make a play on it and scoop it up and advance it forward. However, the guy caught it off the bounce, and they didn't call it. So I didn't listen to Marcus Freeman's press conference. I don't know if he had brought it up, but that's an interesting call. I've never heard that. I've never heard the advancement of, like I said before in the beginning of the podcast, the not being able to advance the ball on a kickoff. And then not being able to, or having at least a chance, if you muff the punt on a fair catch, that you have a chance to try to get it again. So, whatever. Mm-hmm. Just hope it doesn't happen in the playoffs. Anything else, Clutch? Anything else? Look, I took way too many notes for this game. I talked about Jack Kaiser. I mean, again, Notre Dame is in position right now, the greatest position they could be in, and all they have to do is win their last 2 games, and they are in that. They're dead set on that 5 spot, and that's where they wanted to be. Even if they beat Northern Illinois, they could have had a higher ranking. That could be the number 1 team in the country, number 2, number 1, whatever it was, but they would never get that any of those top 4 spots.
Right.
And the whole and Notre Dame, the whole workaround to the fact that Notre Dame doesn't have to play in a college or conference championship, as do some other teams, possibly, like you said, but those won't be in the top four.
Mm-hmm.
So those top four teams will have to play in a college football conference game, or I'm sorry, in their conference championship game. And Notre Dame doesn't still have a week off, just like any other team. And then they're already talking about this game, and I'm bringing up a calendar right now, Clutch, but they're talking about the game being on a Friday night.
What
And
game?
the college football playoff game.
Mm.
So Notre Dame, whatever Notre Dame's first game,
It'll be on a
would be
Friday night.
Friday night the 20th. Either that or the 21st. I'm not sure. They haven't either one or the other.
Might be getting ahead of yourself. They got to
I'm
make
not.
playoffs.
Well, they got to make the playoffs. Well, yeah, they got to make the playoffs. It's
They
true.
might lose out, Matt.
They might. Hey, they might. I mean, listen. Nobody's saying that the Army's a given, which I think it is, but nobody's saying that USC is a given,
Which it is.
which it is, because that team's falling apart. Did you hear who's going to be at that game? By the way,
No.
your
Will Ferrell?
favorite. No, your favorite player from that team.
Oh, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, coming back with his Heisman. With his Heisman, and probably his painted fingernails that say "fuck Notre Dame" or
I'd be in the stands going, "Fuck the Bears, you guys suck."
He's gonna. Yeah, they do suck. They actually started off playing really well and then just collapsed. So
I'm waiting for him to get frustrated and start like bitching, complaining, yelling at somebody that he shouldn't be yelling at, and then look at him and go, "Boy, you're a rookie."
Right.
Or him getting crying, or I don't know, do something. That's where I think that Bears were stupid in picking him up, because I don't think he's mentally, he's got it, So
All right. Well, that's it. Thanks everyone for joining us for another edition of Broish, Two Brothers Talking Notre Dame football. Notre Dame is a top 5 team. Better than that, they're top 3 team. They could be number 1. We'll see. They have 2 games left. Clutch, thanks for joining me. We'll see you next week. Hopefully with an Irish victory. Go Irish.
So 5 minutes left in the third.